Hello. I believe this is working. All right, so hello, my name is Ryan, and today for this assignment, I'm going to be explaining the interconnections in human history between religion and moral values, economic history, power and politics, and material culture. So let's get started. So, what shapes history? History is shaped by many different forces, such as religion, economics, politics, and material culture. These are all different forces that influence each other while simultaneously shaping history through like the connections between each other. So let's begin with religion and moral values. So religion can shape your moral beliefs. Religion can also influence a nation's laws and social behavior. We'll get more into this in the next slide, but religion can also provide meaning and guidance. So religion for many nations, and we saw this more so early on, but they would provide the morals and laws by which the people would abide by. And I'm going to explain more so like the political side of it in the next slide. So here, power and politics. So government systems are the ones who organize society. Political figures maintain authority like throughout these systems. And some religious figures also play an important role. So the example I had was like more so pre-Reformation Catholicism, and how the Pope was seen as a political figure as well as a leader, and he would use like religion to shape like his power and the politics and the laws. So that's kind of a connection between religion, power, and politics, and we'll see a little bit more of that later on. So for economic history, trade and wealth would shape economies, so economic growth is still a really big means of power and how much power a nation or a country has. And your resources can also influence your political decisions and your military decisions. An example of this would be barter systems versus mercantilism, which, barter systems, you're just trading the physical resources you have for equal value, but with mercantilism, you can really expand and get access to different resources. So for material culture, physical objects can tell you a lot about a society, and the objects involved in tragedies can say a lot about the people and what they valued and what they went through these tragedies. So the example from the text was the Holocaust, and the objects that were left behind versus the ones that were taken can show what was important to the people, and also the different like households that were were gone through, and what was left and what they had. Also talks a lot about the social status and the economic power of the people who were involved and the things that they were taken from them, which can give us a more detailed view of history. Religion and political connections. So religion can also have lots of influence with political authorities. So lots of religious leaders do and have used religion to legitimize power, and religious beliefs can also shape the morals and the laws of a society. So I gave this example previously with like the Pope and him having political power. And another example would be like ancient Rome, and how the emperor would use like his religion. So for example, like the emperor cult would shape like the power he had over the people that he led. And also economics and material culture have a connection. So economic wealth would fund buildings and art, and trade would also spread ideas and technology and resources to other nations, so that other nations could have access to resources that they otherwise never would have had access to. And material culture or possessions reflect the economic power that nations had. So for example, the Roman Empire, and when they would expand across all of Europe, they would have access to different resources through trade, within themselves. And for the conclusion, history is shaped by many interconnected forces. So the ones that I went over are religion, politics, economics, and material culture. And all of these different forces influence each other and play a very important part in shaping history, and understanding these connections can help understand cultural change. And here is my works cited. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed.